Assalamualaikum students, I am Shiza Noor, your science teacher. I welcome you all to DPS online classes. Dear students, this is your lecture number 8 from chapter number 1, Human Organ Systems, and today we are going to discuss about the internal structure of kidney and its main functional unit, which is nephron. At the end of this lesson, you all will be able to describe the internal structure of kidney, which you have studied in your previous lecture. You will be able to explain the structure of nephron, and you will also be able to describe the main parts of nephron. So let's start our topic, that is human organ systems, and the main contents that we are going to discuss today are internal structure of kidney and nephron. So let us recall the internal structure of kidney, which you have studied in the previous lecture. Internally, each kidney is divided into 3 important regions. Here we have a diagram of kidney in which you can locate all these 3 important regions. Number 1 is renal cortex, number 2 is renal medulla, and number 3 is renal pelvis. Here you can see the renal cortex, the outer region. Here we have the renal medulla, and this portion right inside the kidney is renal pelvis. First of all, starting from renal cortex, it is the outermost region of kidney. As you can see, this portion, the all outer portion, is called renal cortex. Number 2 is renal medulla. It is the middle region which is divided into conical masses, which you can see here, these conical masses. Cone-shaped masses. These conical masses are called renal pyramids. Alright, then number 3 is renal pelvis. It is the inner area where urine is drained, which is its main function. Right here, this portion is renal pelvis. The urine from renal pelvis then moves into the ureter tube. Right here is the ureter tube. Now we are going to discuss the main functional unit of kidney, which is nephron. Nephrons are the functional units of kidney, which means that all functions of kidney are controlled by nephron. In this picture you can see the structure of kidney, which consists of outer region called cortex. This middle region is called medulla, and right here into the renal pyramids there are nephrons. You can see this structure is nephron. Now what are these nephrons? They are the tubules where urine is formed, which is the main function of nephron, which means the urine formation. There are over 1 million nephrons in each of our kidney, and it is such a huge number of nephrons present in our kidney. Now we are going to discuss the structure of nephron. This is the complete structure of a nephron. Each nephron has 2 important parts. Number 1 is renal corpuscle. Number 2 is renal tubule. First of all, we are going to discuss about the first part of nephron, which is renal corpuscle. It is the first part of nephron right here. And here you can see the complete diagram of renal corpuscle. It consists of further 2 important structures, which is glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. First of all, we are going to discuss about the first important part of renal corpuscle, which is glomerulus. It is a tuft of blood capillaries formed by the division and subdivision of small arteries and veins. Okay, so this glomerulus, here you can see the glomerulus, it is a tuft of blood capillaries. Tuft is something like a cluster. So you can say the cluster of blood capillaries which is formed by the division and subdivision of different blood vessels like arteries and veins. This cluster or tuft of blood capillaries in nephron is called glomerulus. Now after this glomerulus, here you can see a cup-shaped structure which encloses all these tuft of blood capillaries. This cup-shaped structure is called Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule is a cup-shaped structure which encloses glomerulus. So both of these are two important parts of renal corpuscle. Now we are going to discuss the second important part of nephron, which is renal tubule. This part of nephron starts right after the Bowman's capsule. Here you can see we have discussed the glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. Right after the Bowman's capsule, there is renal tubule. All this yellowish color tubule is the part of renal tubule. The first part of renal tubule is called proximal tubule, which is present right here. This is proximal tubule. And the next part, which you can see, is a U-shaped structure. This U-shaped tubule is called loop of Henle. So number one, we have proximal tubule right here. Then we have a U-shaped tubule which is called loop of Henle. After this loop of Henle, the renal tubule is again coiled right here. This coiled structure. This coiled structure is called distal tubule. We have discussed three important tubule structures here. Right after the Bowman's capsule, this portion is called proximal tubule. The U-shaped structure is called loop of Henle, and this tubule structure is called distal tubule. After this, we have a collecting duct here. The distal tubules of many nephrons open up into this collecting duct right at the end. These many collecting ducts then join together and then drain into renal pelvis. They will drain the urine right into the renal pelvis. So students, now we are going to overview the whole lesson. We have discussed about the internal structure of kidney. First of all, the outermost region of kidney is called renal cortex. Then it has renal medulla, which consists of many conical masses which are known as renal pyramids. And at last we have renal pelvis. Then we have studied about the main functional unit of kidney, which is nephron. This nephron is further divided into two important structures, which is called renal corpuscle and renal tubule. First of all, the renal corpuscle, it consists of a tuft of blood capillaries which is called glomerulus. This glomerulus is then enclosed by a capsule which is called Bowman's capsule. So this is the first part of nephron. Now the second part is renal tubule, which starts from the proximal tubule. This yellowish tubule structure is called proximal tubule, which then leads into a U-shaped tubule. This U-shaped structure is called loop of Henle, which then leads into another tubule called distal tubule. This distal tubule then at last ends into the collecting duct, where all the urine is drained into the renal pelvis. So students, now we are going to assess our topic with the help of some multiple choice questions related to this topic. Number one, the basic functional unit of kidney is. The options are neuron, nephron, nerve or nerve cell. The correct answer is nephron. Number two, dash is the inner area where urine is drained. The options are renal cortex, renal medulla, renal pelvis or none of these. The correct answer is renal pelvis. Number three, a tuft of blood capillaries formed in nephron is called. The options are collecting duct, glomerulus, Bowman's capsule or distal tubule. The correct answer is glomerulus. Number four, U-shaped part of nephron is called. The options are loop of Henle, Bowman's capsule, collecting duct or proximal tubule. The correct answer is loop of Henle. Number five, the function of nephron is to. The options are to store urine, to form urine, to push out urine from bladder or to break stones in kidney. The correct answer is to form urine. Students, now we are going to discuss some short question answers related to this topic. Number 1, write names of main parts of nephron. In this lecture, we have discussed two important main parts of nephron, renal capsule and renal tubule. Number 2, write the function of nephron. You have studied the function of nephron. It is the main functional unit of kidney and it is involved in the urine formation. Number 3, define glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. You have studied about glomerulus, which is a tuft of blood capillaries which are formed by the division and subdivision of arteries and veins. And Bowman's capsule, which is a cup-shaped structure that encloses glomerulus. Number 4, name the parts of renal tubule. The main parts of renal tubule are proximal tubule, loop of Henle, distal tubule and collecting duct. Number 5, what is a collecting duct? In this lecture, we have studied about collecting duct. The distal tubules of many nephrons open into the collecting duct, and many collecting ducts join and drain the urine into the renal pelvis. So students, now we are going to discuss the long question answer related to this topic. Number 1, describe the structure of nephron. Also draw its diagram. In this lecture, we have studied the complete structure of nephron. You will write down the complete structure of nephron with complete headings and you will also draw its diagram. Students, this was all about today's topic. I hope you are clear with all the concepts. Thank you so much for watching this video. Allah Hafiz.